The bar was loud in the way only late evenings could be, when laughter sounded forced and music felt heavier than it should. Glasses clinked, boots scraped against the wooden floor, and the smell of beer hung thick in the air. She moved carefully between tables, balancing a tray that felt heavier with every step, her shoulders already aching from a double shift. The waitress kept her eyes down, the way she always did when the biker group came in. Experience had taught her that eye contact invited trouble. They sat in a corner, leather jackets draped over chairs, tattoos crawling up thick arms, voices booming over everyone else's. Most customers tried not to look, but everyone felt their presence. One of them, broad-shouldered with a scar cutting across his eyebrow, leaned back and laughed loudly as she approached. "Hey," he called, snapping his fingers. "Took you long enough." She stopped, steadying her breath. "What can I get you?" His friend snickered. He looked her up and down, slow and deliberate. "You already brought it. Just checking if you remembered how to smile." Her jaw tightened. She set the drinks on the table carefully, refusing to respond. As she turned away, she felt it. The sudden pull at her back, fabric tearing with a sharp sound that cut through the noise of the bar. The laughter stopped. She froze, one hand gripping the tray, her other instinctively reaching behind her. The shirt had ripped open at the shoulder, hanging loose. Gasps rippled through the room. Chairs scraped as people shifted uncomfortably. The biker's grin faded as he stared at what had been revealed beneath the torn fabric. It wasn't skin he expected. Thick, jagged scars crossed her shoulder and upper back, old and pale, some darker than others, layered like a map of pain etched into her body. Burn marks, deep cuts, evidence of injuries no one walked away from easily. The biker's hand dropped immediately, as if burned himself. The bar fell into a stunned silence. Even the music seemed quieter. She slowly turned around, her face pale but steady, eyes burning with something far stronger than fear. "Don't," she said quietly. "One word. Enough." The bartender, a grizzled man who had seen more than most, slammed his hand on the counter. "That's enough," he barked. "All of you." But no one moved. The biker who had grabbed her couldn't take his eyes off the scars. They didn't look accidental. They looked intentional, violent, personal. "What happened to you?" he asked, his voice no longer mocking. She laughed once, bitter and short. "Does it matter?" She pulled the torn fabric together with trembling fingers, but another biker stood up quickly and shrugged off his jacket, holding it out without a word. She hesitated only a second before accepting it, wrapping it tightly around herself. A woman at the bar wiped her eyes. Someone else muttered, "Jesus." The biker swallowed hard. "I didn't know." "You didn't ask," she replied. "You didn't care." He looked around, suddenly aware of every pair of eyes on him. Toughness drained from his posture. "I was drunk. Messing around." "That wasn't messing around," she said. Her voice didn't rise. "It didn't have to. That was you forgetting I'm a person." The bartender stepped forward. "You're done here. Pay and leave." No one argued. As the bikers stood, the man with the scar hesitated. "Those scars, they're not from work, are they?" She shook her head once. "From someone who thought he owned me." The words hit harder than any punch. A silence followed them, thick and heavy. The biker nodded slowly, shame settling in his eyes. He pulled cash from his wallet and placed it on the table, far more than the bill. "I'm sorry," he said. It sounded real. Too late, but real. She didn't answer. They left quietly, the door closing behind them with a final thud that echoed longer than it should have. The bar slowly came back to life, but something had shifted. Conversations were softer, laughter more careful. The bartender handed her a clean shirt from the back. "You don't have to finish your shift," he said gently. She shook her head. "Ido." As she changed, her hand still shook, but her spine stayed straight. She stepped back into the bar wearing the borrowed shirt, the biker jacket folded over her arm. Customers looked at her differently now, not with pity, but with respect. One man stood as she passed. "You didn't deserve that," he said. She paused. "I know." And for the first time that night, she believed it. She kept working, even though every movement pulled at memories she usually kept locked away. The bar felt different now, quieter. People spoke to her gently, as if their voices alone could bruise her. She hated that part, the way sympathy could feel like another form of exposure, but she accepted the tips, the nods, the small kindnesses. Rent didn't care about pride. Near midnight, the door opened again. Her stomach tightened before she even looked. It was him, not the whole group this time. Just the biker with the scar across his eyebrow. No laughter, no swagger. His leather vest was gone. He stood awkwardly by the entrance like someone unsure whether he was allowed to exist in the room. The bartender stiffened. "We're closed to you." "I'm not here to drink," the biker said. His voice was lower than before. "Careful. I just need to say something." Every instinct in her screamed to walk away, but she stayed where she was, gripping the edge of the counter. "Say it." He took a step closer, stopping well short of her space. "I shouldn't have touched you. Ever. There's no excuse for it." She said nothing. "I've done a lot of stupid things in my life," he continued. "I've hurt people. I tell myself it's because of the road, the booze, the anger. But tonight, when I saw those scars, it hit me that someone hurt you the way I hurt people." Her fingers curled tighter. "You don't know anything about what I survived." "You're right," he said quickly. "I don't, but I know what it looks like when damage doesn't heal." She studied him for a long moment. He looked smaller now, stripped of the noise and the audience. Just a man standing in the wreckage of his own behavior. "Why come back?" she asked. He swallowed, because walking away felt like doing it again. The bartender watched them closely but didn't interrupt. She exhaled slowly. "You want forgiveness?" "No," he said. "I want accountability." That surprised her. "My sister," he went on, eyes fixed on the floor, "used to come home with marks like that. We told ourselves she was clumsy, that she'd leave him when she was ready. She didn't." His jaw tightened. "I couldn't save her, but I can at least not be the guy who adds to someone else's scars." The room felt heavy, but not suffocating anymore. She spoke quietly. "Those scars are from my husband. Ex-husband now. He didn't hit me in public. He was careful, but careful doesn't mean gentle." She paused. "I left with nothing but my son and a trash bag of clothes. Tonight was the first time someone saw the truth, without me choosing it." "I'm sorry," he said again, and this time his eyes were wet. She nodded once. "Good. Remember that feeling. Carry it with you." He reached into his pocket and set something on the counter, a folded piece of paper. "That's my number. Not for me. For anyone. If you ever need help moving, fixing a lock, standing in a room where you don't feel safe, call. No questions." She didn't promise to use it. She didn't have to. The offer itself mattered. Security lights flickered as closing time neared. He backed away slowly, respectful now. "I won't come back here again," he said. "But I won't forget you." After he left, the bartender let out a breath he'd been holding. "You okay?" She considered the question. Her shoulders still ached. Her heart still raced. But something inside her felt lighter. "Yeah," she said. "I think I am." When her shift ended, she stepped outside into the cool night air. The street was quiet, the city breathing slower now. She pulled the jacket tighter around herself and started the walk home. At a crosswalk, she stopped, staring at her reflection in a darkened window. The scars were hidden again, but she knew they were there. They always would be. But tonight, for the first time, they didn't feel like a secret she had to protect. They were proof. Proof that she had survived, that she had spoken without raising her voice, that even in a room where power once leaned against her, she had taken it back without a single blow. She crossed the street, keys already in hand, thinking about her son asleep in their small apartment, thinking about tomorrow, about school lunches and bills and ordinary problems that no longer felt impossible. Somewhere down the road, a motorcycle engine roared and faded into the distance. She didn't flinch. She kept walking.